Well, it's Monday now and I've had a productive day. Started the day with strudel for breakfast and a walk along the Glen, the smaller tributary of the Saltsach. It was the lowest I have ever seen it. There were places where you could walk across it and without getting your feet wet. Seeing the confused look on the ducks' faces was comical. And anyone who thinks ducks can't do expressions has clearly never owned ducks. I've also came up with a theory for the swimming pigeons. On the Glen there are pigeons that spend a lot of time in the water, which is unusual, but I think I've figured out why. It's because they live with the ducks. I know this sounds fanciful, but the ducks and the pigeons are always in the same place about 5 meters up from the weir. They spend the whole day mingling together, and I think the pigeons have picked up some of the ducks' behavior. It's the only thing that seems to make any sense for their love of water. After studying the ducks and pigeons, I had a bit of easy therapy and then I walked to Solb and got agreement in principle that I can go back, just need to get agreement from the land and hopefully can go back. If this comes off, it is a big win. Solb is wonderful. I genuinely didn't think I would be eligible, but as I have moved from Upper Austria to Salzburgerland, it looks like it's possible. Tomorrow, I go into hospital to start the process of getting my internal organs put back in the right place. Wish me luck. One last thing before I sign off for tonight, FM4, a commercial radio station, have today played an hour-long transmix at lunch which was awesome, and it's now 4 minutes past 5. So drive time radio, and we have just had the unedited version of the Public Enemy classic State of the Union. An excerpt of the lyrics are as follows. State of the Union, shut the fuck up, sorry ass motherfucker, stay away from me. State of the Union, shut the fuck up, sorry ass motherfucker, stay away from me. State of the Union, shut the fuck up, sorry ass motherfucker, stay away from me. State of the Union, shut the fuck up, sorry ass motherfucker, stay away from me. As I said before, this was on the drive time show of a commercial radio station. Unfucking believable. Tuesday. Got up bright and early for breakfast of a semmel and a coffee, the traditional pre-clinic breakfast. Then at 8:40 I headed down to the hospital. It's about a 30-minute walk and the sun was shining, so it was quite a pleasant way to spend half an hour. Once I got to the hospital, it was a bit of a slow process if I'm honest. The first hour was waiting for a corona test, and oh boy did they get that swab get a long way in this time. This is my 6th and hopefully last corona test, and it was by far the most invasive. Although I had an actual appointment time, but it still took almost 3 hours to get a bed. But having said that, once I got a bed, I had no more put my bag down than I was told to get undressed. Which was a surprise. I knew I would have to have a gastroscopy, but I've had a couple in the past and never had to do anything more than lay on my side and have a camera put down my throat before. This time it involved doctors and nurses in scrubs, an operating room and anesthesia. This was a bit of a shock. Don't get me wrong, a gastroscopy without anesthesia is wholly unpleasant. The first time it happened to me I genuinely wondered if that is what dying feels like. Your throat is filled with camera and cable, and it's a feeling you have never had before. 1 star, not recommended. This time the doctor just said you have a nice sleep now, and that was it. Out like a light. Woke up an hour later and was put back on the ward. Easiest gastroscopy ever, and on the plus side I did have a small worry for tomorrow's operation, mainly about the general anesthetic, but having had one today I feel much more at ease. The surgeon has just been in to talk me through the operation, the procedure, and the risks. He also drew my stomach, which apparently is very herniated. The procedure involves much more than had been explained to me before. There is a repositioning, stitches, meshes, and a band around 270 degrees of my esophagus. Chances of being out of here for Sunday looking very slim now. Still better to take a couple of days extra and recuperate properly. Thursday morning 1 a.m. I've just become awake enough to try and write today's update, and what a day it's been. I was woken at 6 o'clock by a nurse who physically shocked me to wake me up and immediately asked me had I had my morning shower. This despite the fact it was 6 a.m., she had woken me up, my hair was dry, and I was wearing none of the clothes that I had to put on after my shower. I'm not being mean, but there were plenty of clues that I hadn't showered yet. Can you shower now? I was asked. You go down at 10:30. I mean, I'm as fond of being prepared as the next man, but being shook awake as you only have 4 and a bit hours to go and get showered as a bit of overkill. Once washed and dressed in my surgical stuff, it was just a matter of waiting. 10:30 came and went and I was taken down at 11:15, which was the original operation time. Sadly, it was another 70 minutes wait until I got pulled into theater. Once there, I was overwhelmed by how futuristic it looked. Got to be honest, operating theaters have really come on in the last 40 years. I had a small moment of internal panic when they asked me what music I wanted and told me to think happy thoughts. I did for a moment think I was going to be awake for all of this, which I'm glad I wasn't really, for once very specific reason. My lungs collapsed. It turns out, due to my stomach being in the wrong place and being herniated, it had got all trapped around my lungs. And as the doctor very scientifically put it, during the process of separating the stomach and the lungs, lesions occurred, resulting in the collapse of your lungs. They are mostly reinflated now. I'll be honest, that was a shock. The doctor had sat me down and read through all the possible dangers involved with this procedure, and collapsed lungs was not one of them. Also, what does he mean by they are mostly reinflated now? Is this a permanent thing? Also, giving me the information when I'm still fucked from the anesthetic is definitely cheating. So what do I look like now? Well, I have 3 cannulas in my hand as I am wired up to 3 different drips, one of which is morphine. I have oxygen being pumped up my nose. I have 6 holes in my chest. And I have a catheter in. I look and feel like shit. Am I in pain? Well, yes, really, but not my stomach. My back hurts enough, I'm getting morphine for it, and it really hurts when I breathe deeply. I guess this is due to them operating on my lungs, but I hope it sorts itself quickly. It's now Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. Lewis has won the Styrian Grand Prix. I kept my first meal down for about 6 days and also pooed for the first time in a week. So how am I feeling right now? Well, my back still hurts, but I'm going home tomorrow, so that makes me happy. Just got to wait on my discharge papers and then I'm free. I'm not sure how much I will be able to lift for the next few weeks, but it's sure to be a low limit to protect the stitches. Still, will be nice not to be bedridden.